Hi guys, today we'll be putting two cameras known for their vlogging and content creation capabilities to the test. Here I have is the Sony ZV-1, which I recently bought and reviewed. And here I have the DJI Pocket 2, which is my favorite and I've used it along for all of my content creation. The Sony ZV-1 features a 1-inch sensor, while this DJI Pocket 2 features only a 1/1/7 inch sensor. You would think that the Sony ZV-1 will outperform the DJI Pocket 2. But will it? In today's video, we are not only going to find that out, but we're also going to find out in terms of audio quality, stabilization, and other features to see how these both compares. It'll be a long and detailed video, so there'll be timestamps down in the description below for you to navigate throughout this video easily. Before we begin, I cover photography tips and gadget reviews, so if you're interested, do subscribe down below. Number 1. Size and weight. Now let's start with the smaller one, which is the DJI Pocket 2. Now this DJI Pocket 2, comparing my hand, is really small. So here are the measurements and dimensions of the DJI Pocket 2. It also weighs really light, coming in at 117 grams or 4.1 ounce. On the other hand, the Sony ZV-1 is definitely much larger, as you can see comparing with my hands, and here are the dimensions. It also weighs a lot heavier, coming at 294 grams or 10.37 ounce, which makes this double the weight of the DJI Pocket 2. Now let's talk about how they look in the hand. If I carry the DJI Pocket 2, you can see that majority of my hand wraps around the camera itself. While the Sony ZV-1, as I wrap my hand around it, it only covers the side of the camera itself, so it's definitely less discreet than the DJI Pocket 2. But in all fairness, both of them are still really small cameras. Let's move on to our number 2, which is sensor size. The Sony ZV-1 has a 1-inch sensor, while the DJI Pocket 2 has a 1/017 sensor. Having a larger sensor will allow you to capture more light, colors, and details in your images, and will definitely perform better in the shadows and highlights. So there's a high chance that the Sony ZV-1 will outperform the DJI Pocket 2 in terms of the shadows and highlights area, but in case you guys want more information regarding how much megapixels or sensor size matters, check out this video over here. Alright, before I bore you with more theory and specifications, let's head on out with these two cameras to see the images and videos we're able to take with this. Hi guys, we're out here at Singapore Flyer and we're going to test out the wide angle lenses as well as the quality for these two cameras. Here I have my DJI Pocket 2 and here I have my Canon ZV-1. I have both of their relative wide angle lenses to be able to see how well they look if you're planning to use either of these cameras for vlogging. But just for context, we're going to do a very quick sample here regarding the wide angle lenses. Alright, so here I will attach the Canon ZV-1 and here I will attach to the DJI Pocket 2 the wide angle lens. But just in case you guys are curious, this is a setup that we are dealing with today. And as I mentioned, the backdrop is of the Singapore Flyer right here. Alright, so let's do a quick vlogging test with these two cameras and be able to see their quality as well as the inbuilt audio. So just to check out the audio quality, this is the audio that's coming out from my Sony ZV-1 built-in mic with the wind muff attached. And here's the audio that's coming out from my DJI Pocket 2 without any wind muffs or external audio. Just the inbuilt audio of these two cameras that we are testing for now. We are here in this F1 track. Most of the time if there's F1 races, you'll be at this area, which is more of a coastal area. So let me know down in the comments below what do you guys think about both of their footages and if the wide angle lenses really appeal to you for either of these. Now let's remove both of their wide angle lenses again. So off goes the Sony ZV-1 wide angle lens and off goes the DJI Pocket 2 wide angle lens. So this is their native focal length. I would still say that the DJI Pocket 2 still has a rather wide angle. Even removing the wide angle lenses, you still get at least a 20mm. While the Sony ZV-1 is probably around 24mm, so it looks a little bit tight and I'm actually holding it at my arm's length. Hi guys, so we're here at Marina Bay Sands, Singapore. It's quite a famous shopping center at the Bay Area. So if you're interested anyway, this is the setup. So here I have my DJI Pocket on the left and the Sony on the right. So let's do a simple vlogging test. For most of this video, I'm going to put on my mask because we're in the mall, trying to be a bit discreet here. So anyway, what's interesting about the mall is that you have this place that you can like rent a little boat here. Yeah, you can see that the DJI Pocket 2 is a lot wider. Now obviously in terms of stabilization, I would say that the DJI Pocket 2 will be a lot better due to it being a physical gimbal. Although small, it will definitely perform better than the ZV-1. So if you can see here, there's also this little very interesting water will come out during certain parts of the day, and some people believe this to be a wishing well and placing some of the coins above here. Alright, so now let's do a simple test walking up a flight of stairs to be able to see how well the stabilization is. Okay, now we'll make our way down. Anyway, I just found out that we missed the water show. Maybe we'll come back later and perhaps catch one of it. It's gonna be an hour's time, so let's see how it goes. But I'm gonna bring you guys to see something else that's interesting in this mall and hopefully have better comparisons in terms of colors and light. Anyway, while we are approaching towards the another attraction of the mall, let's do a very simple sound test. So here's the audio that's coming out from my ZV-1, and here's the audio that's coming out from my DJI Pocket 2. Okay, anyways, we are here. Hi guys, so we are going to do another test of these two cameras, my ZV-1 and the DJI Pocket 2, to be able to test out the footage as well as the stabilization once again. Now, if you guys have noticed of these two cameras, the price for the Sony ZV-1 is about 749 or 789, whereas the DJI Pocket 2 comes in at about 500 USD. The DJI Pocket comes with this wireless microphone, so we're going to add it in so that at least we know how much the value of these two cameras with the accessory itself. So let's on it. And you're able to hear the audio coming out from my wireless mic. Okay, give me a minute, let me mic it on. So okay, now we have the wireless mic on attached to me and the inbuilt audio that is coming out from the ZV-1. So you can see that without the wide angle lens, DJI Pocket 2 is still quite wide, keeping me in frame. So if you are curious, this place that we are at is called Dempsey Hill. It's a place for expats, but there are a lot of very high-end boutique shops and restaurants over here. So what I still have on my Sony ZV-1 is the Ulanzi WL, which extends the focal range up to 18mm. And what I have on the DJI Pocket 2 is just the camera itself. In a moment, we are still going to switch it out into the wide angle lens and compare how wide they both are again. Okay, so let's switch them out. So here I have the lens for the DJI Pocket 2. And here we are. Hi guys, so let's now test out the audio range of this wireless microphone and be able to see how far I can go without losing any signal. Alright. Anyway, as you can see, it's turning quite sunny right now, so I'm probably sweating. Okay, let's try to hide behind a tree. So we are now easily about 50 feet away. What do you guys think? Am I still losing signal? So as you can see, the signal is still really strong. You're still probably able to capture a lot of my audio. But besides just this wireless mic, it comes with a small tripod along with a few other accessories that I'm going to leave it right at the top corner over here. So with 500 USD with everything intact, it's probably quite a good deal compared to the Sony ZV-1, which just has the camera itself. So if not, let's go back to the studio and conclude the results of the footages captured from these two cameras. Now that you guys have seen some of the outdoor footages and images, let's go down into some of the details. Number 1, image quality. The Sony ZV-1 does take the cake in this area as it has a larger sensor, which allows it to capture more details and perform better in the highlights and shadows. When I was at Marina Bay Indoor Canal, you can clearly see how the DJI Pocket 2 struggles to preserve certain details. Besides this, the DJI Pocket 2 does produces unnaturally warm images compared with the Sony ZV-1. The Sony ZV-1 produces images and the warmth on it is so much more natural and easy on the eyes. Besides the weird colors and lack of details, once you blow an image, there are parts of the photos from the DJI Pocket 2 that isn't in focus even though it is 42 megapixels. So having larger megapixels doesn't really make your image better, but having a larger sensor does. Next, stabilization. Before we go into the details of stabilization, I need to let you guys know that how you hold the camera really matters. If I were to hold the camera this way, I only have one area of support. If I hold the camera with two hands, it has two areas of support, which really matters even if you have image stabilization digitally or mechanically. Holding with two hands reduces roll and pitch movements. With that said, there are generally two types of stabilization: digital and mechanical. The issue with digital stabilization is that it crops into your image to make up for the stability in your footage. It zooms into your footage, making you lose some details in the background, which might not be very ideal if you want a larger focal view. The DJI Pocket 2 on the other hand is a small gimbal itself, so it already has mechanical stabilization, which means that it does not reduces or crop into your image. Beyond losing focal view, which stabilization is better? I guess it's quite subjective, because sometimes digital stabilization do add in motion blur to make your footage much nicer. But for my preference, I'll prefer the DJI Pocket 2 as you do not lose any information due to crop. Next, audio quality. Now I do find the audio quality coming out of the DJI Pocket 2 sounds a lot more natural than the one that's on the Sony ZV-1. Even though the Sony ZV-1 does have improvements over its predecessor, but the mics have this noise cancelling function which makes the audio sound a little bit unnatural. Here is an example of how it sounds compared to the DJI Pocket 2. And here's the audio that's coming out from my DJI Pocket 2 without any wind muffs or external audio. We are here in this F1 track. Most of the time if there's F1 races, you'll be at this area which is more of a coastal area. You can clearly hear how the voice on the Sony ZV-1 sounds like it went through some poor noise cancelling softwares. The vocals are really weird and somewhat artificial. The DJI Pocket 2 on the other hand sounds a lot better. Ulanzi WL, which extends the focal range up to 18mm. Even though you can hear some background noise, it's not distracting and my vocals do not sound strange. On top of this, the DJI Pocket 2 Creator Combo does have this wireless mic which you can clip on to your body to be able to get much better vocals, isolating your vocals from the background. Next, battery life. There's a vast difference between the battery life on the DJI Pocket 2 and the Sony ZV-1. It really does not matter if your camera can shoot good quality images and videos if the battery life is rather lousy. While the Sony ZV-1 can only last up to 45 minutes with one of its MPX batteries. One of these MPX batteries has a charge of 1240 mAh, which is actually more than the DJI Pocket 2, but it can only last up to 45 minutes of 4K usage. Which sounds really weird because the DJI Pocket 2 has only an 875 mAh internal battery. You need at least 2 or 3 of this Sony BX1 battery to be on par with the DJI Pocket 2. Even though this has an internal battery and you can't switch out, I find that the battery life is more than enough for me to use for a day. So in the area of battery life, I do think that the DJI Pocket 2 does take the cake for this one. Besides some of the video and photo comparisons that we have done, there are some features among these two which I have not mentioned, which can really matter to some of you guys. I will not be going into details into all of these features, but I'll be just listing down so that you guys know what do they have. There will be a relevant video right at the end for both of these cameras to show you the examples that I'm talking about. Let's start with the DJI Pocket 2. The DJI Pocket 2 is a gimbal and has the usual follow and follow functions. Once again, my battery is going flat, let me change it out. Alright, we have a full battery, let's continue. Let's start with the DJI Pocket 2. The DJI Pocket 2, besides having a gimbal function such as POV or follow mode, has this face tracking mode. It not only tracks your face, but the camera literally just moves as you go along. This is really good as it functions as a second camera person. Not only that, it comes with this all-in-one case which comes with this wide angle lens if you've seen from the test footages. and this wireless microphone, which you also seen from the test footages with this wind muff. And lastly, this mini tripod, which allows you to be able to put your DJI Pocket 2 on any surface. All this comes with the creator combo, and it's really amazing if you guys want more of these accessories to enhance your video production. Now let's talk about the Sony ZV-1. It not only has the touchscreen, but it also has a built-in ND filter. It is really useful, especially for bright and sunny days where you want to cut down the amount of light to maintain a certain aperture. But what sets this camera up among all the other cameras out there is two of its functions called Product Showcase and the blurry background button. The Product Showcase allows you to be able to have close-up of your object or subject once you put it close to the camera, while the blurry background button right at the top over here helps you to be able to blur the background, making it into pure butter. It basically makes your image look really nice and professional, having this bokeh effect. Now both of these cameras aren't cheap, so let's talk about price. The Sony ZV-1 comes in at about 749 USD, while the DJI Pocket 2 comes in at about 500 USD with the creator combo. As I mentioned, the battery on the Sony ZV-1 is not good, so do factor in at least 2 or 3 of the MP-BX1 batteries into the Sony ZV-1. Let's conclude, if you guys do a lot of photography and shoot YouTube videos indoors, the Sony ZV-1 might be a better option due to the flip-out screen. The 1-inch sensor also able to capture more details in the highlights and shadows, making your overall image and video much better. But if you are shooting videos and vlogging a lot outdoors, I'll suggest the DJI Pocket 2. The DJI Pocket 2 creator combo comes with this wide-angle lens and this wireless microphone, which really enhances the whole overall experience, giving you a much wider view compared with the Sony ZV-1. The Sony ZV-1 does have this Ulanzi wide-angle lens, but it only has a maximum focal range of 18mm. The DJI Pocket 2 overall looks so much more discreet compared with the Sony ZV-1, as it looks so much smaller in your hand. It will look so much less aggressive going to places to take photos or videos compared with the Sony ZV-1. The longer battery life on the DJI Pocket 2 is also a huge factor, as you don't need to change in and out of batteries once you're outdoors, which can really be quite a hassle. So I hope you guys like this video. As you guys can hear, my voice is getting sore from this extended and detailed video review. Do give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and hit the bell notification over here so you'll be updated of my latest upload. I've done more than 10 videos on this DJI Pocket 2, so if you want more examples and details of this camera, do check out my playlist over here. On the other hand, if you like the Sony ZV-1 more than the DJI Pocket 2, I have a playlist over here which I've compiled all the videos regarding the Sony ZV-1. If you guys would like to support me on my YouTube journey, I'll greatly appreciate it. Go down to my Patreon page down below and select a few options which can go as low as 10 cents per day to help me to fund my YouTube journey, buying more gears and gadgets to review. Oh yeah, and links to both of these cameras are also in the description down below. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.